Hello there, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick, and as these 2 weeks draw to a close, it's time to take stock, have a look at the gameplays we reviewed in the last couple of weeks, and try and place them in some kind of order from worst to best, or at least the retro gaming ones. But before we come to those, the pinball tables we looked at this time round on the PlayStation 4, Zen Pinball 2 was Archer from the Balls of Glory pack, published by Zen Studios in 2015. They've already reviewed Family Guy and Bob's Burgers, which are pretty cool tables, and Archer is pretty good as well. Based on a spy, a bit like a spoof James Bond. He's got vehicles, he's got gadgets. Table looks really nice, scoring system is quite good. A little bit tricky, but it's okay. And the other table was American Dad. All these based on cartoons from the Fox network, and none of them I've really watched in a great deal. But the American Dad table features the voice occasionally of Patrick Stewart, who plays CIA agent boss Avery Block, I presume, and he's got all his family there. Stan Smith is the main character. It's not too bad, and I think there's an alien there as well. So if you're into those cartoons and you're into pinball, you can't really go wrong with these ones. Balls of Glory pack offers great value for money, so if you can pick that up in the sale, then I would recommend doing that. And also as well, we've been going through on the PlayStation 3, the SEGA Mega Drive Ultimate Collection. Been doing one game a week, and this time it took the turn of Golden Axe 3. To my mind, Golden Axe 3 isn't as good as the first two games, although it's not a disaster of a game. I like the original the best for nostalgia reasons. The second one was interesting and added a bit to it, but the third one, you're not really controlling the same characters as before, although they are quite similar. Rumour has it that Sega didn't want to release Golden Axe 3 because they thought the franchise was getting a bit watered down, but there it is anyway. So well worth seeing. Again, your versus against the odds. You've got all the same moves there. The magic system's returned to the magic system of the first game, which isn't bad. What is different about this one, though, occasionally, I'm not sure if it makes a great difference to the game, you've got a choice of what direction you want to go in, where Golden Axe 1 and 2 is always 2D horizontally and across, and you just have to take things as they come. The second game we looked at in the collection, all these come out in 2009, was VECTORMAN 2. It's a good evolution for VECTORMAN 1, but just as difficult. The story being, in the first game, VECTORMAN was cleaning up sludge, as lots of robots were, from a heavily polluted Earth, so we can go back someday and repopulate it. When VECTORMAN was off on one of his missions, and Robot took over, connected himself to a warhead, and then VECTORMAN had to fight every other robot to save us, which he did. And then returning back to the planet, got hit by a missile, and it's VECTORMAN 2. He's got to do the whole thing again, basically, starting off in a swamp. The lighting in this game is absolutely fantastic for a Mega Drive game. We don't tend to include this in the top 6 Roundup either, because they are remakes on the PlayStation 3. Yeah, so there we go, Golden Axe 3 and VECTORMAN 2. So let's get down to it then. Well, sort of. Now, before we come to the top 6, there is a couple of games. One I reviewed in error, but roughly the same name, which didn't quite make it in. Both on the ZX Spectrum 48K. We've got Play Your Cards Right, written by I don't know who, published I don't know when. It's a typing game, this. I don't know how it was on the internet. That's why I downloaded it thinking it was the other game. But it recreates a bit of the Play Your Cards Right program from the 80s, which was hosted by Bruce Forsyth. And the only bit it recreates of the game is the cards, where you have to predict each card, was it higher and lower than the card before. So if you start with an ace and say lower and it's an 8, you win. Lower than an 8, a 4, yes, okay. Higher than a 4, a 2, you're lost. And also if you get 2 cards in a row, it's nothing for a pair, not in this game. So it's very basic, this type-in thing. Basically it's you versus a computer, and it's the first person to get to 3. You don't have to go all the way across in one go. You can freeze if you want, and then when it's your turn you can change your card. Exciting, isn't it? No. It's competent, but not a full commercial game. As I said, I reviewed it in error. The other one, which I meant to review in the first place, is Bruce Forsyth's Play Your Cards Right, so an official one of the TV series from the 80s and the 90s. Got a picture of Bruce Forsyth on the front, or at least a cartoon version with a big chin. And this was published by Britannia Software in 1986. Tries to create the whole game this time, including the final, where you can try and win spectacular prizes, but again by predicting if a card's higher and lower than the last one, but it's got the main bit of the game at the start, which is basically the survey bit, where you get asked a question and they have to predict how many. Like, we surveyed 100 married couples. Did they know the colour of their partner's eyes? And then I would say 42, and the computer would go either higher or lower, and based on that, they have to go first in the numbers round. Understand it? No? Well, tough. There might be a video about Play Your Cards like the actual TV show that someone's put up. I know there's definitely Blankety Blank. I'm not sure there's a computer game Blankety Blank though, but I'm sure we'll eventually find out. Okay, top 6 time. In 6th place, I put Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines by Atari in 2003 on the Game Boy Advance. Graphics are good. Well, they're okay. Sound is good. Presentation is brilliant. Playability is pretty awful. I got lost quite a lot in this. The control mechanism is weird. You can either select walk, run or strafe. On the first level I was just wandering around trying to work out what to do. You're trying to find one of your army officers who's hidden in infrared for some reason. I skipped about a bit, but I won't be coming back to this one. It was just dull. I mean, one level was better than the others, where you're just shooting robots, a bit Chaos Engine-y, but no, avoid this one. There's something missing. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, and I think they will rise up if they had to play this all the time. It's okay, but as a game it doesn't quite work. Could have been a lot better. In 5th place, on the ZX Spectrum, an arcade conversion, Star Wars by Domark in 1987, based on the arcade cabinet from 1983. It's a 3D shooter, dogfights based on Star Wars loosely, where you control Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, and you must blow up the Death Star by going through a trench and doing dogfights with TIE fighters. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? Well, it's okay, but unfortunately this conversion was done a lot better unofficially by 3D Star Strike a few years before. Now, 3D Star Strike is one of my favourite space games, if not my favourite space game on the ZX Spectrum, and it's done a whole lot better than this. Major bonuses of this game is it's got the Star Wars name, I suppose, a small bit, but it's got the Star Wars music at the start, which is awesome. It does a really good job there. If it played the Star Wars music actually in the game, it might have lifted it, but it's all a little bit quiet apart from the laser fire. So Star Wars, but you've seen it done a lot better before. And in 4th place, we've got another arcade conversion. This is a Stun Runner, again by Domark in 1990. Tries to recreate the arcade version, and it does it okay graphically, but speed is severely lacking. It's all polygons, and I tend to like polygon racing games like Stunt Car Racer on the Amiga or Drone Racer on the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if it's overtaxing the CPU, but it's very, very slow. You can see the game could be good if it was quicker. The speedometer quite often says 500 kilometers an hour or 500 miles an hour going up to 900. It certainly doesn't feel that way. You must complete stages in different time zones, collecting stars, avoiding traffic, going up ramps and avoiding obstacles. I put it in 4th place, but it's just too slow. If you've got a chance to see the arcade version, compare it, because it does look kind of fun there. You on a futuristic craft or motorcycle. It looks like it could be heaps of fun, but as I say, it feels like I was doing it in slow motion. So in 6th place, Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines on the Game Boy Advance in 2003. In 5th place, Star Wars by Domark in 87 on the ZX Spectrum. And in 4th place on the Commodore Amiga is Stun Runner by Domark in 1990. Now, before we come to the top 3, we did have a look at a PlayStation 4 game. We jumped back into Driveclub, because I love Driveclub, and we might go back into that every now and again. But this time it was one of the DLCs, which is cool to have a look at. It was the motorcycles or the bikes, published by Sony in 2015, and the original games in 2014. It's got all basically the same tracks, and I didn't know how much extra this is going to add, but if you've got the money, then I fully recommend upgrading or getting the DLC, the bikes as well. Leaning is quite crazy. I found it difficult doing the controls on the handlebar view. I had to do chase view, but this game is absolutely awesome. It was awesome already, but motorbike is a great addition. It's like buying a whole new game, but I thoroughly recommend it. Really enjoyed that, and I'll probably come back to it with a few other videos. Won't do a blundering series on it, on either of the 2 Driveclub versions, but as I say, I'll come back to it every now and again, I think. But brilliant, brilliant game. Driveclub Bikes, get that. Okay, top 3. And I've placed some of these a bit higher because of nostalgia reasons and the year they was made, because I take that into account as well. So third place on the ZX Spectrum 48K, although it was designed for the 16K, is Space Raiders by Sinclair Research in 1982. So a very, very early game on the ZX Spectrum, heavily influenced by Space Invaders from the arcades, which came out in 1978. It's pretty much as you see it, really. A row of aliens gradually descending down the screen. You're one ship at the bottom with 3 shields to hide behind, and then just must blast them, an occasional UFO coaster top to hit. And that's about it. If the aliens get down to the bottom, you're dead. Space Raiders. There have been a few remakes of this, and if you're looking for Space Invaders on the ZX Spectrum, be hundreds and hundreds, but I really recommend this one. Bright and colourful, collision detection's good, it moves really fast. Brilliant. In second place, again on the ZX Spectrum, it's KRAKOUT by Gremlin Graphics in 1987, based on the arcade game Breakout. And have to be in the same genre as Batty, if you're aware of that game on the ZX Spectrum. Well, basically, you must hit a ball with a little bat and destroy bricks until they've all disappeared. And there'll be obstacles and aliens and upgrades to try and stop you or enhance your enjoyment of completing the level there. KRAKOUT's slightly different in that instead of a vertical grid, it's horizontal, so a bit interesting there. Reminds you a bit like the early tennis game Pong in terms of that angle with the bat. Quite a few different levels there. The graphics are good for what it is. In 1987, I really like that, by Gremlin Graphics, who were later to do the Lotus series, so it's good to see how they started out early on, and that is a KRAKOUT. Okay, so the winner, another motorcycle game, so if you like bikes, you'd like this 2 weeks, Driveclub Bikes, but this one on the Commodore Amiga, come for a recommendation. I hadn't played it a lot in the day, but on the Commodore Amiga, as I say, Prime Mover by Psygnosis in 1993, who also was to give us No Second Prize. No Second Prize was like polygons, this is more like traditional sprite-based. Very, very quick, quite easy to control, a choice of bikes, crazy arcade action, puts you straight into play, a good learning curve, really nice national anthems before each race. There's really a lot to like in this game. I can't decide whether I like No Second Prize more than this one. And then you've got RVF Honda in there as well, and Super Hang On. So at some point I might do a list of my favourite biking games, but so far this week this is the best one. If you don't include Driveclub Bikes, there's nothing can compare with that. But doing the top 6 just looks at the retro games. So I think we've covered everything there. So the top 3 this time round were Space Raiders on the ZX Spectrum, third place by Sinclair Research in 82. In second place, KRAKOUT on the ZX Spectrum by Gremlin Graphics in 87. And the winner this time round on the good old Commodore Amiga, a motorcycle game, Prime Mover by Psygnosis in 1993. Thanks for watching all the videos as always. It's your comments that keep the channel alive. If you haven't already, if you could subscribe, that would be really helpful. That helps me going forward, and in turn that makes more people comment, because it's all about activity, and comments are good. I answer the majority of the comments there. I don't tend to answer all of them, but about 99% I will do. Occasionally about the odd one I miss. Apologies for that. So yeah, channel's got what was I gonna say? Unscramble the brain. Videos, that's it. Videos are going up every day, so keep watching, and until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.